What is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV today. 4 more matches lined up for us for episode 2 of the Mae Young Classic to determine who is going to continue to fill out the field as we continue along this journey for the Mae Young Classic trophy, and we're going to go over it all right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and this is your Mae Young Classic episode 2 review right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. The road to WWE Evolution begins with the Mae Young Classic. This is how Michael Cole wants to open episode 2 of this awesome tournament, and the WWE continues to take that agenda and use it to ruin what was once a very, very special time for some of us here on the, I'm just not enjoying it as much as I used to, and it all comes down to the presence of Michael Cole. He is an extension of the main roster, especially for Monday Night Raw, and it is absolutely being felt. I get that cringe feeling every single time he speaks. The guy is just making a mess of everything. It's bad enough that we got to see Samoa Joe there, who has absolutely nothing to do with the Mae Young Classic. We have to see Natalya there again for the second week in a row because they got nothing else for her to do, apparently. Then we have to see the Riot Squad that Michael Cole wants to say is 2 of his favorite people on all of Monday Night Raw, which explains a lot, probably explains why they're being pushed so hard, and, Michael Cole has terrible fucking taste, so obviously he would love the Smurf Blower and the Viking Braun Strowman lady. I just don't even understand why they're there. They are bringing down the quality of the Mae Young Classic. And then the Undisputed Era. I never have a problem seeing the Undisputed Era, but they didn't even seem to give a shit about being there. They were watching the match very disinterested, just kind of sitting there. I don't know what the point was. What are you trying to put over by having these faces there? And then you got Cole just trampling all over Beth Phoenix and Renee Young all show long. It was disgraceful. These girls couldn't get any thought out before he was starting to say whatever he wanted to say, or would interject by trying to call the match, which he absolutely sucks at. And then on the flip side, these girls were given way too much copy. Much like I said that they gave Renee Young too much to say on Monday Night Raw, they started all of this with the Mae Young Classic, giving Beth Phoenix and Renee Young seemingly paragraphs of information to try to get through in between holds, in between pinfalls, and they want to talk about all kinds of things except for professional wrestling. We want to talk about who's on a gypsy fucking reality show. We got to talk about who's in some Newsweek article, who has this many other jobs outside of the WWE, literally talking about everything other than professional wrestling and their careers in wrestling. We want to talk about who's a mom and whose husband's in the audience, whether or not it's Cedric Alexander, doesn't make a difference. Who cares? We're not here to see him. We're here to see what's going on in the ring. I feel like it's just disrespectful to these girls, the way that they are presenting them, and the commentary team, although it's not like a killing blow to this whole thing, just Michael Cole's presence and the way that they're just getting too much information out there, trying to put too much out there in a short amount of time. Just focus on the match. Call the fucking match. I don't need to know everybody's little backstory, every little detail, who likes a waffle, who wants milk in their coffee. I don't need to know this. I need to just hear you guys talk about what's going on in the ring. Then that would be good. That, of course, is the negative aspect of this thing, which there never really was before. I didn't even get that down on JR and Lita last year, because less was more to me. I got to enjoy the wrestling, and now it's just like berating in my ears like this while I'm trying to enjoy a fantastic match like Deonna Purrazzo versus Priscilla Kelly, which was a great way to open up this show. Deonna Purrazzo, a true fan favorite. She was an alternate last year. She did not make the Mae Young Classic tournament. but she has been in NXT in spots here and there throughout the year, and she has made her way back to the Mae Young Classic. It was a very impressive match. Priscilla Kelly, I told you guys when we did the preview and when I did my contestants countdown that I'm into it. I absolutely love what she's bringing to the table. She looks fantastic. Everybody's talking about how she looks like Paige, and you got to give it to her. She absolutely does, but that's just because their style is so much the same. She's very gothic. We don't see a lot of gothic girls in the WWE, so immediately you're going to draw that comparison, and it's not incorrect. It was one of the things I immediately thought is like, wow, this girl reminds me of Paige. But then when you watch her wrestle and you see what she's doing in the ring, she's very different from Paige. Her background is very different from Paige. Paige is from England, and Priscilla Kelly is a gypsy. Apparently she was on a gypsy reality show. My big fat Greek idiot, who gives a shit about my show? Who cares? I don't even care. What she was doing in the ring was fantastic. Her body language was great. Her look was great. I thought she was going to be something special when I first seen her, when we first talked about it on this channel, and I was right. Deonna Purrazzo bringing everything we all know she was going to bring to the table. This was a very good match, very hard fought, and Deonna Purrazzo, the Fujiwara armbar master, absolutely impressed and got Priscilla Kelly to tap out. I was actually hoping to see more of Priscilla Kelly, but I knew immediately when they placed her against Deonna Purrazzo that was not going to be the case. Purrazzo, very emotional after the match, broke out into tears, celebrating her win, almost in disbelief that this is actually happening, and you got to take your hat off to the girl. It was a great performance. She's worked so hard to get to where she's at, and it was a great match, and I look forward to seeing more from Purrazzo as well. I also really hope that Priscilla Kelly finds her way to the WWE somehow, some way, because she is money. I love everything that she brought to the table. Having Paige on the show with her, I think would be great if you got her to the main roster somehow and maybe Paige took her under her wing and then you could develop a story between the two of them. It would work. It would make more sense than the fucking Riot Squad, would it not? You could even put Ruby Riott with them and it would fit more. But anyway, let's not go off topic. Match number 2. Match number 2. You know, not every match in the Mae Young Classic can be a 5-star classic. Not every match can be a sleeper hit. Not every match can be a gem. And here on this night, I found the first match that I didn't care for. I don't give a shit how great that Spanish Fly that Zeuxis absolutely nailed to win this match and dispose of Ariel Monroe. Big Swole. Big Swole? I hate that nickname, by the way. I don't get it. I don't understand it. When you say Big Swole to me, I think about what happens in my pants when I see my wife's boobs. You know what I'm saying? That's a big swole. I don't know what Ariel Monroe is a big swole. I don't like it. It's not that I don't like her. I do like her. She does remind me a lot of MJ Jenkins, who we saw in episode 1. She was a lot of fun. She had a great charisma. She is the wife of Cedric Alexander. Her daughter and her husband were in the front row to enjoy this matchup. And she has star power. You can see just by looking at her how she carries herself in the ring, the way she came out to the ring, that she's a star. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a whole lot more of her very soon. And I'm not opposed to that because she's probably great. But on this night, with Zeuxis, this match was not good. This was a very clunky, very sloppy match. These girls did not mesh well together. Never mind the fact that both of them came out to what has thus far been the 2 worst theme songs since this thing began. They're not going to all be winners, but everybody else has pretty much decent music. Ariel Monroe's song was very jarring to me, and Zeuxis was terrible. Both of them. However, like I said, the finish of the match was great. I love the Spanish Fly maneuver. I always was a big fan of that. It's very beautiful to watch. It's a very elegant maneuver. Something they used a lot in Lucha Underground when I was enjoying all of that stuff. It's very Lucha oriented. You see it much more there than you do on WWE television, even though we've seen it sometimes during 205 Live. I think Mustafa Ali does it. He does it very well. And outside of that Spanish Fly, there was nothing impressive here. Nothing impressive. I hope that Ariel Monroe can bring a whole lot more to the table when I do start seeing more of her, because thus far I've seen her get squashed completely by Nia Jax, and I've seen her in a very, very sloppy, uncoordinated matchup. These girls just did not mesh well. Zeuxis was on top of her for 90% of this match. She brought all of her power to the game, but they just did not have any chemistry. And it was a mismatch off the start. I was surprised with just the appearance of Zeuxis. I didn't realize that she was that stocky of a woman. In my research, my pictures didn't show her that way, and not that that matters, but it's an impressive look, and I love the mask, and she probably is much better than what we saw tonight, and I hope that that is the case when we see her move on to the second round after beating Ariel Monroe with a beautiful Spanish Fly and leaving us absolutely nothing else to talk about, aside from how terrible Big Schwole is as a fucking nickname. My favorite match of the night is the one we are going to talk about next, featuring the American Ninja Warrior Kacy Catanzaro. Catanzaro, Cole, not Catanzaro, not Catanzaro, not the 9,000 different fucking ways you wanted to mispronounce that girl's name. Catanzaro. Catanzaro. Idiot. Ruins everything. Kacy Catanzaro was 5 feet tall, 100 pounds. Her opponent, Reina Gonzalez, coming out of last year's tournament, did not impress me, not even one bit. They made mention that she is one of the most improved members of the Performance Center and NXT roster right now, and I will give them that. She did improve a lot more. She was a little bit more impressive than she was last year in the Mae Young Classic, but the fact that she was barely impressive at all means that her stint here was, I guess, passable. It was decent, and I can understand why they would keep a Reina Gonzalez around. She is absolutely monstrous. She made me think of Vanessa Craven, who we saw in episode 1. I think that would be a great pairing for the women, or a great matchup to see two gigantic women go at it like that. But Reina Gonzalez in this match played her role absolutely perfectly as the dominant, overbearing, twice the size competitor that she is, and I thought it was beautiful. I actually believe that somebody, maybe a Shawn Michaels or something, got in the ear of these girls. I don't know if maybe he was down in the Performance Center while they were practicing, or if he had some direct involvement with the booking of this match, but this just had a very Shawn Michaels feel to it, not just because of the size mismatch, which you can harken back to when we used to see Shawn fight guys like Sid and Kevin Nash and all these guys that were twice his size and 3 times his weight, and he would come back from behind to win it in the end. So I didn't give a shit about the mismatch that way, and I loved the story that they told. Kacy Catanzaro is new. She's barely been training at the Performance Center for 6 months or 9 months, I believe Renee Young said, and it definitely shows. She doesn't have very much to do in the ring, but she impressed me immediately just by the way she got into the ring, climbing up the steel ring post to the top of it to hit the third turnbuckle, the top rope, and hit her pose. And then that is the story of Kacy Catanzaro, which is why I want the WWE to develop her and take their time with her and do something right, because this girl is a superstar. Her agility and her speed and the balance that this girl displayed. At one point, she hit a split-legged, seated drop kick, springboarding from the outside of the ring to the inside of the ring, something that you would probably think Rob Van Dam would do. If you remember, he used to do the split-legged moonsault off of the corner. This girl did it off of the rope and then executed a drop kick perfectly. And to be as new as she is and to have that kind of agility and that kind of ring presence already makes me think she's going to be something very special. There was a lot of great spots in this match for her. She had a great showcase here. She definitely did. And I think Reina Gonzalez came off looking very good as well. She did everything she could to try to stop this littler, more agile and speedy opponent, but her power was just not enough. Kacy Catanzaro, with that never die, never give up sort of mentality that just kept her coming back for more, and she would not be defeated by this bigger and much more badass woman. There was another spot we got to talk about where she did a handstand on the top rope. She was absolutely perpendicular, completely straight, and then would come down on top of Reina Gonzalez and turn it into a Hurricane Rana. It was friggin' amazing. It's something that you will never ever see in your life. This is what this girl is bringing to the table. Her crossbody from the top rope was very, very well executed, and the fact that she won this match was very surprising, but that is definitely by design. That is why they gave her a woman that is twice her size. This is the first woman in the history of the American Ninja Warrior to ever complete the course in history. So she is not going to be shaken by having to face something seemingly of such greater odds. Such a huge obstacle is something that Catanzaro is used to climbing, and that is exactly what she did. She won this matchup with a roll-up, having just enough leverage in the way that they were positioned to keep Reina Gonzalez's shoulders pinned to the mat for a 3 count, a surprise victory, a nice little celebration at the end. Reina Gonzalez looked like she was fucking pissed, but then she would come back into the ring, grab Kacy Catanzaro, looking like she was going to attack her, but would then embrace her, give her a nice little salute, throw her up on her shoulder. Everybody's happy, and I absolutely love this. This was my favorite match on the whole entire night, and I think this girl is magical. Kacy Catanzaro should be... I don't want to fast track her because I want her to do it right, but I can't wait. I cannot wait to see more of what she brings to the ring. I was very, very curious if she was going to be able to implement anything that she does from American Ninja Warrior, and she definitely did that in spades. There wasn't a lot going on. You definitely saw she was still very, very new, and they could have done a lot more, but I'm going to give this all the credit in the world. It was absolutely fantastic. This match was ninja-rific. Ninja-rific, and I can't wait to see more. I was very disappointed in the Ashley Rain versus Mercedes Martinez matchup, and I'll tell you why. First of all, once again, last year in the Mae Young Classic, I was not impressed with Mercedes Martinez, and I did not understand why she went so deep into the tournament, only falling to Shayna Baszler in the semifinal rounds rather. Before Shayna Baszler would go on to lose to Kairi Sane. And I think having that in the back of my mind coming into this year, I just didn't want to even see her again at all. And I assumed that her already being in the Mae Young Classic and being put against somebody like Ashley Rain, Madison Rain, that Madison Rain was going to be the one to advance. Like, Mercedes had her time. She was here. She's just going to be here to fill the spot. But that was not the case, as we had Mercedes Martinez go over Ashley Rain in her WWE debut, not going any further in the tournament. I would attribute that to the fact that she was probably... she probably had to tell them she was going to be at All In. So she probably couldn't sign a deal at that point, and this was her punishment for that, most likely. I was never a big Madison Rain fan. I thought she ruined the beautiful people. Something about her face just always annoyed me. I never thought she was really that attractive. I don't know what Josh Matthews sees in her. Not that he's that attractive either, but I guess they're a perfect couple if you look at it that way. And I'm not trying to be disparaging. I'm just trying to tell you guys my honest opinion. I'm always honest with you guys, and that was my initial feeling from way back in the day when she was in TNA. I was just never a fan of Madison Rain. She brought down the beautiful people to me, and even in everything she did later on with Gail Kim and all of the accolades she would accrue in her career, I just never had a connection with her, and that continues. I was anticipating maybe seeing something a little different. Maybe she was going to be something, you know, like Madison Rain, but not, and maybe amp it up a little bit. But essentially, we got the same girl that we see in TNA Impact Wrestling, and she was actually much more impressive at All In. Her match there was fucking fantastic, which is why I was kind of interested in to see what she was going to do with a Mercedes Martinez, but what she did was pretty much nothing but get her ass beat by Mercedes Martinez. She did have a couple of impressive spots Martinez did, like the vertical suplex. She picked her up in a stalling vertical and held her there for a good 20 seconds and the crowd was getting into it. It was impressive. It's not that these girls can't wrestle. That's not what I'm saying. This match was a lot more wrestling oriented for tonight's show. Probably the most of all of tonight's bouts that had the most wrestling. But again, it's just Mercedes' style doesn't appeal to me. That slow ground and pound kind of deal. I don't know what it was. There was a lot of submission maneuvers going on and a lot of power moves, but she just doesn't appeal to me. She's another one coming out in the ninja hood with the face masks. So now we got Ember Moon, we had Mia Yim, and now we have her. And oh my goodness, I forget Lacey Lane. Lacey Lane, and now we have this one coming out in the same exact look. Nothing original about her. And Michael Cole wants to say, oh, this is my favorite woman in all the tournament because she works 2 jobs. Michael Cole has a favorite woman in every match. He can't make up his mind. Lacey Lane is his dark horse pick to win the whole thing. Deonna Purrazzo is his favorite girl from New Jersey. Renee Young is his favorite girl from Canada. Who gives a shit who his favorites are? Who the hell are you? You don't care. Just like I didn't really care about this match. It was a tough match. Like I said, the most technical of the night, and Mercedes Martinez would win it with a fisherman's suplex buster to Ashley Rain. Kind of surprised, like I said. I thought Rain was going to be the one to advance here. But up next for Mercedes Martinez is probably her last stop in this year's Mae Young Classic, as Meiko Satomura is waiting in the wings now for Mercedes Martinez. And Kacy, my Spitfire Ninja Master. I absolutely love this girl. Kacy Catanzaro going to be up against another very tough test against somebody else who is much bigger than she is, and Rhea Ripley, much more intense, much more focused, much more seasoned than a Reina Gonzalez, and I am very excited to see what those two are going to do as we start to get closer to round 2. Episode 2 was great. If you love ninjas, which I guess I do, it was good. Every episode of the Mae Young Classic is good. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody as we try to have a little bit of fun here, but the fact of the matter is, I expect more. And I was hoping for the reduction of Michael Cole, but that apparently is not going to happen. Mauro Ranallo is not going to come to save us until hopefully the finals of this thing at Evolution, which is the main storyline of the Mae Young Classic this year. It's not the road to Evolution, it's the road to the trophy for the Mae Young Classic, you numbnuts. And by doing that, you're only proving everything that I say right. And enough with the main roster people. Who gives a shit who's there? Let's just see what's going on in the ring. The show ended so friggin' early, you could have added about 5 more minutes to each of the girls' matchups, and then you take away some of these segments, and you could have had a lot more wrestling on the show, which is what I thought this show was supposed to be about. But it seems like the Mae Young Classic's moving a little bit more away from that. So we'll have to see what the rest of the tournament entails. Thank you guys, as always. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you slam that thumbs up with your sledgehammers at home. And then if you are not already a member of the Sledgehammer Club, make sure you smash that subscribe button right now, as we are so damn close to 800 on the march to that 1K, which we are going to get before the end of the year. And I know I'm going to get it because you are going to hit that button right now. And it starts with you, and I can't thank you all so very much enough for all of your continued support. All of my sledgeheads already. I look forward to seeing what you guys thought about this episode in that comment section down below. Light it up like you always do, because I can't wait to get back to you guys. Don't forget to be following me on Twitter. At Nick Nightmare is the handle. Check us out on the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. And if you are listening to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, and Spotify, make sure you get your eyeballs to the Sledgehammer TV YouTube channel and subscribe to us over there as well. Thank you guys for listening as always. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my trusty team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Mr. Blue the Snowball Microphone. We are so glad to be with you guys here once again on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time for more Mae Young Classic and the hammerings of Hell in a Cell this weekend, as we gear up to bring you guys the preview and predictions this Friday night. Thank you guys so much. That is going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good one.